That tastes like the Bernabeu away. Yeah. uh, I know I'll also get a little bit of a cooking as well, even though I did do a show earlier. But welcome everyone to a little bit of an exclusive show. Usually we now, I guess, do this monthly at least once a month or something like that. But yeah, it is time for a bit of Charlie's tears. Yes, the unfortunate thing is Spurs stayed up. You know, I don't actually blame Everton. I blame Aston Villa. That one game when you beat them. But regardless of you guys not getting relegated, you know what? I'll let you say. But how are you, Charlie?
First of all, big up to 10. Before we get into obviously the stuff I'm going to talk about, I just want to say massive congratulations to Deportivo
Oh, I
on
thought
your
you were gonna say.
promotion.
I thought you were gonna say massive congratulations to ARSENAL.
Nope. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you're going to ask me about that. So we'll get into it. Big up to Ozan Kabak as well. Yeah, congrats, man. Look, first and foremost, big up to Deportivo for promotion into La Liga for the first time in quite a few years. Obviously, it's a shame. Obviously, we didn't finish the year of the bird show and everything, but
All up in
obviously, it
your
would have
head,
ended with your happiness and unfortunately, my sadness.
up in
But
your horse, yeah.
the Premier League has finished finally.
God,
I hope nobody ever talks of this season again.
same.
And yeah, for both of us in that case. And yeah, but very happy to be back. It's good to do the show once a month. I was actually at the beach today.
Oh yeah.
Beaches in the UK, I know, unbelievable. But yeah, I was at the beach. So I got a bit of a tan. But yeah,
Oh.
big up to the chat. Looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot to talk about. Obviously, we'll also talk a little bit of international football. Obviously, Spain announced their squad for the World Cup. Italy announced their squad for the friendly games.
Hmm.
I, you know what? Yesterday could have been one of the greatest days in football history. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But I guess we'll start. I don't know. Maybe the a little appetizer. I guess let's start with I guess Palermo because that's probably the most not recent I would say. But
Mm.
yeah, you might as well take it away. What do you think,
Yeah.
Palermo?
As everyone can see from the thumbnail and the title, Palermo did not make it to Serie A after all the expectation, after all the promise, after all the shows that we were doing in the first part of the season, where I was very optimistic at times. I unfortunately have to kind of own it because I did say we'd get automatic promotion, and unfortunately we have fallen in the playoffs. Um, I mean, where do I even begin with this? Obviously, first and foremost, obviously we finished the league season reasonably well. I mean, we, got a good win over Cesena. We beat Catanzaro. More on Catanzaro later. Big up to Mike as well. Yeah, Catania are not coming to Serie B. They're stuck in Serie C forever. But yeah, like I was saying, we had a good end to the season in the regular season. Good win over Cesena, good win over Catanzaro, which obviously more on them in a bit. An unfortunate loss to Venezia. I thought we were quite unlucky to lose that game, albeit neither team had anything to play for. Venezia, of course, already heard got promoted. Yeah, man, Italian and proud. Venezia already got their promotion. Palermo already knew they were going to come fourth in the table. So it was kind of a nothing game. But I thought we played reasonably well. We unfortunately lost 2-0, of course. And again, congrats to Venezia because they, for me, despite my sort of expectation of Palermo, Venezia were by far the best team in Serie B. Like, despite us, having a good regular season, I thought Venezia were that kind of level up. And apparently they're looking at signing the likes of Fulkrug now and Basic of Lazio. So a few early targets. Dumbia, who's a really good midfielder they got, apparently going to be going for about 30 million euros, which is obviously a lot for a Serie B player. So it just shows you kind of the quality that we were up against. And second place, I'm not going to congratulate them because they are cheats. I don't know what it is with cheats get rewarded this season. I mean, I wonder.
Well, no, well, okay. There's one not really related to both of our clubs, but
they didn't get rewarded. They got punished. But Frosinone came second. Look, I'm not going to congratulate them because if you know, you know. Very, very very big cheats. I don't know why they haven't ever been punished for what they've done in 2018. And ultimately, they are going to finish rock bottom of Serie A next season because for those that don't know, they have never defended a promotion. They have never stayed up after a season. So, Frosinone, you'll be back in Serie B next season. And yeah, then we come to Palermo, finished fourth, played Catanzaro, who finished fifth. I knew that, look, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I knew that Catanzaro would be a tough game. I thought we'd get past them, but I knew it would be a tough game. I wasn't sitting here saying that, we finished about 15 points above this team. We're going to go and absolutely wipe the floor of them because they're a good team and that they've had a good end to the season under Akulani, former Liverpool player, for those that know. Done a very good job since coming in as manager earlier in the season. 45 minutes, man. Our season was destroyed in 45 minutes. I've never seen. Look, Palermo did overall got unlucky in other seasons. We would have got automatic promotion. I explained this in the last show that we were up against a very, very difficult league this season. So with finishing on 72 points, there's been many seasons that would have been enough for automatic promotion, but ultimately it wasn't. And Monza finished third with 76, which was the same amount that Pisa went up with last season. So, it just shows you kind of what kind of was going on this season. But like I was saying, that game was our worst 45 minutes of football of the whole season by a country mile. And it was our whole season destroyed within 45 minutes. I mean, we literally conceded from kickoff. Like, it was an absolutely disgusting first half. Obviously, the defense really struggled. And it's clear, and this is something, obviously, we're going to come to, like, what players we need to bring in and sell. But it just shows you that when Bani isn't in the defense, we fall apart. And that's happened so many times this season. When he was injured, we had a really kind of our worst run of form in October time. Now he was coming off a little knock. He couldn't start against Catanzaro. We're 3-0 down at half time. And it was a shambles. Like, I don't blame Inzaghi whatsoever because those players absolutely shat the bed. If we're being honest with it, they shat the bed. They couldn't get themselves up for the big occasion. And ultimately, we had the whole season ruined in 45 minutes. And it's not so often you see that. Look, you see teams work really hard to get into the playoffs. And obviously, they'll get a bit unlucky. They might lose. But I don't think I've ever seen a team kind of work so hard to get into the position they have and completely throw it away within 45 minutes. Like, I'm still shocked, to be honest, at what I was seeing because it was that bad. And we didn't really show much resistance in the second half. They could have actually made it 4. I don't know. Again, like I said, I don't blame Inzaghi, but like his subs were wrong at half time. I don't know why Rui Modesto didn't come on at half time. And yeah, we ended up losing. But second leg, albeit too little too late, which it was, we almost pulled it off, which the remontada, which would have been fantastic because for those that don't know the rules in Serie B, if the tie is level on aggregate after the 2 games, the team that finish higher in the table will advance. There'll be no penalties, none of that sort of stuff. The team that finish higher will advance, and obviously Palermo did finish higher than Catanzaro, so a 3-0 win would have been enough to take us through. We won 2-0, and it was so just... They gave it a really good go. I can't fault their performance in the second leg. I can't fault the manager. I can't fault the players for the second leg. But that first leg, when you give the other team a 3-0 lead, you're leaving yourself with too much to do in the second leg. And like I said, fair play to Palermo for our performance in the second leg, because we almost pulled off the unthinkable that nobody saw coming. Obviously, Poyampalo scores within like 2 minutes. You're thinking, look, this really is, this could happen. We literally scored within less than 5 minutes. Just didn't really happen, did it? Like Catanzaro, look, obviously I'll come to some of the antics that they, were doing during/after the game, but to give them credit, their shape was good, and they were able to deal with what we were offering going forward, and were able to, after we got the goal, they didn't panic. They kept a decent shape, and we couldn't break them down, and it was extremely difficult. Very frustrating game. The ref, by the way, was absolutely... I thought I was watching the Premier League when I was watching the second leg. I thought I was watching the Premier League. That's how bad the ref was. Clearly a Catanzaro fan. Like, they literally had 12 players. He was that bad against us. And look, I don't like to go for referees, but that was bad. And he was just one of those refs that just stops the game. The Catanzaro player goes down, whistle. But like no ability to just let the game go. And half of them weren't even fouls, in my opinion. But we did get that second goal, which, with 6 minutes of stoppage time, was extremely interesting, because at that point in the second half, I thought we were a lot better than the first half, because Palumbo hit the post. Jonsson should have scored. I don't know what he's doing. He should have scored. So we had two big chances to go and get the goals in the second half that we just didn't take. And we did eventually get that second goal to make it 3-2. Rui Modesto, and by the way, we need to sign this guy permanently, because he had a terrible start to his Palermo career, but in the last part of the season, he has been absolutely brilliant. And look, his final ball could be a bit better, but what he does give us is a bit of pace and a bit of precision. He always takes on his man. And for me, in Serie B, these are the players that can make the difference. And obviously, he was on loan from Udinese. The news coming out now is that we are trying to get him permanently already. So fingers crossed that happens. But yeah, Modesto, look, big up to him, because he has been, since obviously that red card against Padova, which was pretty terrible. He's been fantastic. And I want to see him here next season. And that's obviously the talk that we are trying to bring him in. But he gets the goal. Fully deserved his goal. I mean, he's had a few good games where he's been unlucky not to score. So it was good for him to finally get the goal. And then 6 minutes, it's literally the unthinkable is, in a good way, is about to happen, because got the goal in the 89th minute. There's still 6 minutes of stoppage time. You can see the fans believed that it just didn't quite happen. And worst of all, with 3 minutes still to go, Pirozzi goes and does an absolutely unnecessary red card challenge and gets himself sent off. Which, look, I know the ref was shit, but I'm not going to argue with that. It was a blatant red card. And, he if he doesn't do that, who knows? With 11 players on the pitch, who knows? I'm not saying it's likely, but who knows? But for him to go and do that is disgraceful in that moment when there was still 3 minutes left. And we had just recently got a goal to go within one goal of not even equaling the tie, but because of the rules, going through. So, look, I'm proud of what we done in the second leg. But unfortunately, we threw it away in the first leg. And we can't forget that. We simply cannot forget that. And ultimately, as painful as it is to say, Palermo have fallen short yet again. Just like last season, just like the season before against Venezia, just like when Corini bottled the playoffs as well. Like we've fallen short again. And it's just very frustrating, because we've got the highest wage bill. This season, we got the best points we've got since getting re-promoted to Serie B. We've got the best points this season. Would have gone up automatically in other seasons. But ultimately, that's not how it always works. And for the 5th year in a row, Palermo will play in Serie B. Obviously, next season, I think that if I'm looking forward to it, there's not going to be as much competition. I don't think you're going to have teams as good as Monza, who are about to go up, by the way. They just beat Catanzaro 2-0 in the first leg. I don't think you're going to see anyone as good as Venezia, and I don't think anybody's going to be as good as much as I hate to say it, Frosinone. So next season, I'm not going to sit here and say, look, it's over and all of this, because I'm not going to do predictions now, but Palermo, if we have a similar season to this year, I do believe we will go up. But in terms of going up, big up to Anthony as well. Shame for what you guys done yesterday, man. Like,
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
believe what you
Allegri
guys did.
out now.
So yeah, but yeah, look, the good news, all the news has been coming out since that playoff defeat. Inzaghi will be staying at the club. There was some bullshit rumors I was seeing about Hellas Verona. Like, come on, like, do me a favor. He will be staying at the club, thankfully. I don't want to see us look. Palermo haven't, until we got Inzaghi, we never had the right manager. Corini was not the right manager. Dionisi, of course, was not the right manager. So, and obviously Mignani in between as an interim after Corini got sacked. So we since getting up to Serie B, we haven't had one manager for more than a season. So it's important that this time we have got the right manager in place. This is Inzaghi. He knows how to get teams promoted. Whether that's the first... Look, he hasn't done it in his first season everywhere. Pisa obviously was, but before at Benevento and these other teams, it has taken him 2 years to do it. So this isn't the first time that he's been in this situation. But it's really good to hear that he is going to be staying at the club. The question mark in terms of who might be leaving the club is obviously Carlo Osti, our sporting director, who is coming out that his position will be looked at and there could be a change in sporting director, which, if I'm honest, I would only get someone in if we can, because I think Osti, since coming in last summer, has done a pretty good job. Obviously, way better than DeSantis. DeSantis was a complete disaster. I mean, this guy bought a French striker named Henry, who done absolutely nothing. So there you go. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the sporting director if Osti stays. What City Group think? Obviously, now with Pep, his new job, he will be advising Palermo because he's going to be because he's going to be advising all the City Group clubs. So that's kind of his new role. So maybe some Pep advice will help us. But yeah, very disappointing, man. Very disappointing. I know I always say look, if I sit here and say, yeah, next season, I'm starting to sound like Netflix FC and all of this sort of stuff. But we have to go again, man. Like, we need to be in Serie A, and unfortunately, we're going to have to wait at least another year. But yeah, look, good season from so many players. A massive improvement from last season. Paolo scoring 25 goals, top scorer in Serie B. Assuming that we are going to be able to keep hold of him, which I do believe we will. And if we can, get some more players in and just improve, because here's the thing with Palermo. What I've realized now after looking back at the whole season, and this is something that I will admit I was wrong about at the start of the season, was that our bench is nowhere near good enough. When you compare it to our competitors, our bench isn't good enough, because when you look at the starting 11, you think, that's a very good starting 11 that should be getting promoted. But when you look at the bench, the bench is completely in a different world to our starting 11. Because I'll give you an example, right? Paolo's our striker. He's the best striker in Serie B. Our backup striker is Giacomo Corona, who is a very young player. And and obviously, look, Palermo, born and bred, all of this. Like, I'm sure that it's great having him around, but he's clearly not ready to play for Palermo and make a serious impact in a promotion race right now. I think he needs to go on loan. I'm not saying I'd sell him because I think he has really good potential, but he's not the ready-made player that we need to come on and make it. I'll give you another example. Like, we've got Palumbo, who's obviously been like the assist king for us this season. Behind him, you've got Jassy, who has been a disaster, who I thought was a good signing at the time, but has turned out to be an absolute disaster signing. So this is what I mean, that there's just not enough depth. I'll go back to it, centre-back. When Bani comes out the team, we collapse. Magnani hasn't, obviously I talked about when we done the show, what happened to him obviously in his personal life was like, obviously a big deal. But since returning, he hasn't been the same player as he was when he first joined Palermo. And other defenders in there, Peda, decent, but is he the level to start week in, week out? You've got Birinsinski. I don't think he's at the level either. So I think that Ceccaroni, he's a good player, but you need somebody behind him to give him that competition. So our bench just isn't good enough. And then the midfield, you've got Ranocchia Segre, who have obviously done well. But then behind it, and this for me is one of the biggest drop-offs in the whole team, you've got Alexis Blun, who thankfully is going to leave. One of the worst signings I've seen for Palermo. Thank you, DeSantis, as well, for that signing a couple of years ago. He will leave because his contract ends. And you've got Claudio Gomez, who is, just hasn't really got a look in, and Zaghi doesn't fancy him. So we need more depth. And for me, that if you look back at obviously the 45 minutes against Catanzaro is what ultimately cost us. But if you look back at the whole season, why could Palermo not seriously overtake Monza, Frosinone, Venezia? The reason is because we didn't have a good enough bench, and we didn't have those players to come off the bench and really, really make a difference. Obviously, at the start of the season, I thought we were having some good impact from substitutes, but eventually that dried up. And it got to a point where we were heavily reliant on Palo. We were heavily reliant on Palumbo to create. And ultimately, that's why we fell short, in my opinion. And January, I look back at January, Dennis Johnson, for me, has so far hasn't done it. He has not done it in a Palermo shirt, despite him obviously being good in promotion-winning teams like Cremonese last season. He hasn't done it in a Palermo shirt yet. Rui Modesto, though, fantastic signing, although he's a wing-back. So, it's a slightly different area. We do have depth there. Pirozzi, Modesto, that is some good depth in that one position, but there's just not enough situations like that in the squad. So if you ask me what cost Palermo promotion, for me, the bench and the overall squad, that's why I don't blame the manager, because if we had a few more options, I think we could have got those few more points. Because you look at the points, forgetting the playoffs, again, putting the playoffs to one side. If you're looking at automatic promotion, for me, the games that cost us, forget losing 3-0 to Monza, forget losing to Venezia, forget that. What really cost us for me was Avellino away, Verticentella away, Pescara away, Avellino away. These teams that we should be beating and not beating, either drawing or losing, these are the games that cost us for me. And those teams that we're competing with, they were able to get over the line in those games. Like, look at Monza, right? They're about to go up, and congrats to them, because I really did and do want them to beat Catanzaro. But, and yeah, 100% Lewis, facts. But they've got on the bench, they've got Danny Motta, Patrick Cotrone, all of these guys starting. On the bench, they've got the likes of Patania, to come off the bench. You've got Hernani, who we wanted to sign in the summer, but didn't. You've got Birindelli, Paloazzi, these guys, with options behind them that can actually compete. Pedro Obiang in the midfield as well, who went up with Sassuolo last season. So that for me, as much as it pains me to say, is the difference. And next season, in this summer transfer window, we really have to get this right. And if we do, I have full belief. I have full belief next season we will finally get promoted. Even though I know the last 2 years I've predicted us automatic promotion, but ultimately I can admit I'm wrong. But if we do in the summer, if we have the right window, I believe we will do it next season. Combined with the fact that I don't believe, and I might be wrong about this again, but I don't believe the competition will be as fierce next season. We already know who's coming down: Hellas Verona, Pisa, and Cremonese. Pisa, I think, are going to fall off. I think they're going to be a bit like Empoli this season. This is just my prediction. You've got Hellas Verona, who haven't been in Serie B for quite a while, since 2019 now. So it's kind of an unknown thing. And then Cremonese, who, yes, they gave it a good go. They had a good start to the season, but they're going to lose a lot of players. The likes of Vardy will leave at the moment unless he renews his contract. So I have full belief for next season if we get the transfer window right, which I believe we can do. But obviously, we will have to see how it plays out. So yeah, bring up. Look, oh man, listen, we have to get to Serie A, because if we get to Serie A, I do believe
Maybe.
that can happen because of his age, and I think that with where Dybala is at in his career, I could see him coming back to Palermo. But if we're in Serie A, and that's obviously what we haven't been able to achieve, and right now, as much as I'm saying I believe we can do it next season, we are stuck. We are becoming one of these teams that just gets stuck and can't look. Let's not beat around the bush. Serie B is a very, very tough league. It's the same as it's not entirely the same, but it's similar to the Championship. Obviously, both of the second divisions. Everyone here in England says, "Oh, the Championship is very, very difficult. It's a very tough league." Serie B is exactly the same. It's a tough league to get out of, and obviously we've struggled. So we'll have to see. But yeah, that's sort of my thoughts. And just one more thing before I let you speak on this, Catanzaro. You guys are a disgrace. Ripping up our dressing room after the game. One of I think it was the owner's son or something, picking fight. I don't know if you saw this. The owner's son picking fights with Palermo fans in the director's box. There was there's a video of it. There was a massive scrap going on. And then at the end of the game, Catanzaro players literally trying to beat up our players in the tunnel and just causing just some massive. It was like one of those videos that I'm surprised it hasn't gone viral, to be honest. It was obviously just a massive scrap at the end of that game. So yeah, look, Catanzaro, congratulations. As things stand, you will be back in Serie B next season with us. And yeah, congrats to Monza, because I do want Monza to go up, because I do not want to compete with them again next season. So there you go. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Palermo. Gutting, look, very, very disappointing. But yeah, what's your thoughts on everything I said?
I remember at the start of the season, I was humble about Deportivo Racuni. I said minimum playoffs, just be humble. Have obviously that hope of maybe automatics. Oh, I might as well just say we are back. And then
you are back. Congrats, man. Congrats.
For Palermo, you said top 2. I forgot what I actually predicted for Palermo. Actually,
I said, do you know what I said for Palermo? I said number 1. I said first.
Something like that.
I did.
Or at least number 2 then.
Look, but I'll be honest. I'll admit I'm wrong. I underestimated Venezia and I underestimated Monza massively. I underestimated.
And Frosinone.
Forget about them.
Or Catanzaro when it mattered.
Yeah.
I can't believe the team that gave you the first loss of the season.
But all the way back in October.
Yeah. It's the team that knocked you out of promotion practically. But yeah, I think for Palermo, by this time next season, it would be 10 years, right?
Yeah, we were relegated in 2017. Yeah.
So you know what? 10 years. 10 is a really nice number. I wonder why 10. But I think probably next season will be Palermo's time. I think the competition won't be as good. I mean, the only competitor is probably Hellas Verona, I would say.
Yeah.
Just because I think they'll be the strongest.
It depends who they keep, because if they keep Gift Orban, if they keep have you seen the Scottish guy they got, Browie, Brown, or I can never remember his name, but they've got this Scottish player who's done quite well for them. Obviously, they got Victor Nelson as well in their defense. If they keep, it depends who they keep. It really does.
Yeah, so I think this might be one of the only times you might get back up, I would say, next season. I don't know what other, maybe Catanzaro might be up there again. Modena, I don't know.
Modena fell off like I predicted.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be.
Stabia.
The thing is with these teams, right? They're obviously difficult teams, but these teams, for me, with all due respect, Juve, Stabia, Catanzaro, they're always going to be these playoff 5th, 6th sort of teams. I could be wrong, but just based on their finances and the squads they have, that's just kind of where I think they'll be again next season. But I could be wrong. I could be very wrong.
Yeah, and you won't be the only City Group club in the 2nd tier after one of them just entered it. On Saturday?
Girona, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess some of the comments from Anthony and the others. Apparently, Milan are linked to Iraola, Xavi. I think amongst those names you said, I would probably say Iraola should be
Iraola,
your
yeah,
choice,
Iraola, yeah.
I would say. If not him, I would say Italiano, I would say.
Yeah, if
If
you
not
can get him out of
Iraola.
Bologna, that is.
Yeah. Well, at least the good thing is Bologna on in Europe next
Mm.
season and all that. But yeah, seeing like, you know, Milan, they
Yeah,
how
how did you guys bottled it badly yesterday?
you were like second, third, at worst fourth the whole season, right?
Pretty
Sure,
much.
right.
It's like a Hearts, it's like Hearts in the Scottish League.
And then I saw Shanklin. He's going to Rangers, so that's going to ruin the hearts of many.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for Palermo next season, now that Deportivo have been promoted, as long as Deportivo don't get relegated next season, I'll knock on wood. Uh, maybe La Rosa will be the show next season because there doesn't have to be any Deportivo
Look,
in the
all
Segunda.
I'm gonna say is this: we could have gone to the San Siro. Now we're going to Arezzo
Uh,
and Vicenza,
and Verona, at least.
Verona. Yeah, but look, I'll be honest, right? I'll tell you something as well for next season. Don't write off Empoli. And the reason I say that is because Empoli were finished in the exact same position as Frosinone did,
Oh,
just
yeah.
about avoiding relegation into the relegation playoffs. Empoli obviously were in Serie A very recently. And I'm not saying this will happen because I think they have to do work in the summer. But I wouldn't be surprised if Empoli are a competitor next season.
If only they had Dionisi.
Well, not anymore. And if he was there, that there would be no chance of that happening.
But yeah, I guess in terms of other stuff, we'll talk about Spurs, but then we'll also talk about actually now that the club season's practically done, apart from two competitions, really. We did make our predictions way back in like August, like for each league, and we'll revisit that after you talk about the mighty Tottenham Hotspur. You survived. No, you will now have 49 years. I think it will be of Premier League or at least first division
Top flight.
football.
Yeah.
So for me, I'll say this before you go. I am sad for West Ham. I really am. You know. Oh yeah, I would probably say that as
Yeah.
well. But
Massively.
you know what? The fact that you survived back, I can't believe you actually had back-to-back 17th place. Even we couldn't do that, like back-to-back 17th. But yeah, obviously, I'll let you talk about the mighty Spurs. What the first time in how many months was it? Your first home win in the Prem was
Since
November,
December, since early December.
So what? That's like 5 months, 5.5 months. So congrats on winning your third home game of the season and surviving. I'll let you talk now.
So with Spurs, right, I just want to be clear. We've survived relegation. And I know we've survived relegation, but I surely can't be the only fan that is thinking, how pathetic and disgusting is it that I have to mutter those words? Survived relegation. We were one game. It went down to game week 38 of the season for us to not be relegated. All I'm going to say is this. Never, ever, ever nobody speak of this season again, especially because of what happened at the top of the Prem, those cheats, set piece FC, all of this. Never speak of this season again, please. I hope it's like null and void, forgotten about, deep in the history books where nobody ever checks, in the dusty shelf in the library. Look, first and foremost, on a more positive note, fair play to De Zerbi for essentially coming in and getting us 11 points, which before he came in, we weren't getting a point. And I'm being serious. We weren't getting a point. Under Igor Tudor and Thomas Frank, we weren't getting a point. So massive credit to De Zerbi. And it's good that he's been able to come in and essentially get... And again, it's not perfect because we've got an absolutely terrible squad in terms of players available right now. with injuries and everything. We've got an absolutely terrible selection of players in many areas of the pitch. And he's been able to come in and grab 11 points and steer us to safety, which from the position we're in, I'll admit I was wrong, because I thought we were relegated. I saw no way that any manager could get anything from these players. I thought the heads were gone. I thought there was no turning them around. But look, they did fight. And I will give them credit for that. They did fight. They did grind out the results, like against Wolves, like against Villa and Everton on the last day. Those were De Zerbi's 3 wins. A couple of draws in there as well. We did what was needed to get out of the most embarrassing. Well, it doesn't change it. The most embarrassing season in our history, well, Premier League history at least, our most embarrassing ever season has ended. And I'm just very relieved that it's ended, because that can never, ever happen again. And like I said, big up to De Zerbi for coming in and getting the results and getting something. Look, there's only so much you can do because so many of these players have got to go. But for getting enough out of them to avoid relegation. And again, can't believe I'm saying those words. Relegation, yes. We were lucky, I'll be honest. We were handed a bit of fortune with West Ham losing 3 of their last 4 games. We were handed a bit of fortune. But look, I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Yay, we stayed up, fantastic!" Because
that's why you went to the beach.
That's why I went to the beach today. Yeah. Look, like I said, credit to the manager. He's obviously here to stay on a long contract and everything. There's been a lot coming. I haven't had the chance to look at any of it, I'll be honest, but there's been a lot coming out regarding that Charrington's put out a message or something like that. I haven't had the chance to really look at it because I've been out all day. But the reality is this with Tottenham. For me, there is one aim and one aim only. And it's not trophies. It's not Champions League football. It's not it. The aim is to remove ENIC as ownership, because I don't care what people say. Under them, this will not get better, no matter who the manager is. Because De Zerbi, what's going to happen is he's obviously saying, and look, again, big up to him. He was spot on with what he said in the press conference, saying that, you know, he essentially was like, stupid people forget what happened this season. Stupid people forget. And he's absolutely right. But unfortunately for him, he's not going to get backed. He's going to be sitting there in pre-season. And again, I feel very sorry because I don't want him to go through this. But he's going to sit there in pre-season, frustrated, long face, and he's going to call it out because this is what De Zerbi does. He's not going to hold back. He'll say what he thinks. And he's going to be like, look, this club don't have what it takes. That they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And they're not learning from their mistakes. And that, just to clip it right now. And again, I really hope I'm wrong about this. This is something I don't want to be right about. But fast forward from now till July, pre-season, press conference, he's going to be frustrated because we're not going to bring in the players we need to bring in, and we're not going to sell the players that need to be sold, or enough of them anyway. For me, until I see Lange out, Vinay out, the entire board out, the entire medical team out, and of course, ENIC out, I don't believe anything will be any different. Obviously, it's important to survive because, I mean, Tottenham being in the Championship is a joke in itself. And secondly, and I realized this over time, that if we're in the Championship, it will be an even lower chance that ENIC will sell the club because their asset would have halved in value down in the Championship. So then why would they sell it? They'll want to try and get back up and get the value of the asset up again. So us being in the Championship would have decreased the chances even more of them selling the club, which is, for me, the ultimate reason why I didn't want us to get relegated. So that's what it all comes down to. We've got a manager like De Zerbi, which is great, but we've had Conte, we've had Jose Mourinho, we've had these other managers.
Poch.
I don't count Poch. Poch has not turned... Again, a lot of Spurs fans will hate me for saying this, but Poch for me was very overrated in terms of what he's done since leaving Spurs. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Anthony's right in the chat. Unless Enoch
Put it back up.
go out of their way and put a proper football plan in place, we're going to be here next season. I mean, we might not be in a relegation battle because we're going to have one game a week. There's not going to be all this Champions League and stuff. We're not going to be in Europe next season. So
Same.
there will be one game a week, which will ultimately, in my opinion, even without the backing, will lead to more results. Plus, we're going to have De Zerbi from the start of the season. We're not going to go through this Frank rubbish that we went through and this Tudor rubbish that we went through. So, will results improve next season? Yeah, I'm sure they will. But are they going to improve enough? Is it going to be good enough? No, because the manager won't be backed and the board won't sign the players that need to be signed. So for me, look, obviously great. We've stayed up. Look, like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong, but I've been burnt too many times. I believe that something would happen under Conte. I believe something would happen, under Poch back in the day. I thought just maybe from the position, but nothing. So what makes me think that they're going to change now? Obviously, look, they've never been in a relegation battle, so maybe it will force them to spend a bit more money. Who knows? They might spend a bit more money, sure. I could see them doing that. But are they gonna change their recruitment policy? Will Lange still have a job? Because if he still has a job, we're in trouble. If he is in charge of picking who we sign and scouting the players, then we're screwed because he clearly has no idea what he's doing. So for me, unless heads need to roll, and unless that happens, I can't sit here and be like, yay, we stayed up, because ultimately, I just don't believe right now we have any, until I see otherwise, we don't have anything to look forward to next season until I see otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, what do you call this? You finish. I remember I said when you were really in that relegation battle, I said you'll finish on 38 points. Like the same as
last. I mean, we actually got more points than last season now.
Yeah, so congrats on at least. You know what? Congratulations on reaching 40 points for the first time in 2 years, right? Because obviously last season you didn't get 40. So
look, man, I'll be honest. Like this whole relegation battle, just I understand the whole, getting behind the team, but we should never be. It's never left my head that we shouldn't be in the. I know a lot of fans kind of like, we're doing the whole bus welcome and everything, which great. Like I'm not against that or anything, but if I'm just being honest about my thought process, it never left my head that we should never be anywhere near this position. It just always stuck with me throughout the whole relegation battle. That's just the honest truth for me.
Yeah, because I remember when 10 years ago, Newcastle, we eventually got relegated. I don't know if there was really any. Maybe I didn't notice it or whatever, but I didn't really see Newcastle fans do what Spurs did with the bus, with the flares.
Look, I get it. I get it because of obviously the situation and that nothing else was. I mean, when we weren't doing that, the players were even worse. So, but it's just unacceptable. It's unacceptable for us to be in this position.
Yeah, like imagine had the one regret of this season, I wish we lost to West Ham. Like
of course you did.
I said, you know what? I can accept West Ham beating us if it means.
What about Sunderland getting Europe?
You know what? It's not a trophy because Arsenal have won.
I knew you were going to ask me about
the Premier League. What are your thoughts on, what is it, 22 years? So practically the first time since you were one.
I was 1 year old. I was 1 year old.
0. No, more like 6 months or something.
Maybe, less than a year. Yeah.
Damn. So first time in like actual, lifetime, somewhat. Arsenal.
Before, if anyone's wondering, no, I'm not going to say congratulations because in my, again, opinion, everyone's allowed their opinion. This is just my opinion. Anyone's allowed to disagree with me. That's fine. I don't have any issue with that. But in my humble opinion, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve to win the title because they play the most disgusting, awful football you've ever seen. They've had a million red. I can't even list all of them. There's too many to count.
Zero red cards.
Zero red cards against, zero penalties against. When I can think of, I mean, straight away, like, because obviously with Newcastle, Gabriel playing volleyball and punching Voltemada in the face, like, you know, basically nothing. The amount of corners that they've got away with, where, you know, the West Ham game that happened a couple of weeks ago, in isolation, I actually think it is a foul, personally. But my issue is that they've been doing that to countless teams and have got away with it. And if the referees did their job for that game, why could they not do their jobs for the many other incidents? Because if they could, I think you'd see Arsenal with less points, and
maybe.
And look, I know Man City ended up being 7 points because ultimately they fell apart after the Everton game, essentially, which for me, like, if I'm being honest, Man City should have won this league because they beat Arsenal and they had it. They had just won their games, they would have done it. And I think that Everton game was obviously the downfall for them. Because I think if they beat Everton, I actually think they go and beat Bournemouth, and I think they go and beat Villa because the snowball effect, momentum.
Yeah.
That, for me, just knocked the stuffing out of them. And it ultimately allowed Arsenal to go on and overtake them. So we can blame Man City as well. They definitely messed it up.
You know what? Of all teams, I know I said Aston Villa, I blame Everton. The fact that they drew against Man City and then lose to you, you know what? Everton, relegate next season.
For me, Arsenal don't deserve the title because they haven't won it in a fair way for me with what they've done with the corners, mostly the corners. But in terms of other incidents like the Havertz red card that should have been given against Bournemouth, the Gabriel one against Newcastle at the start of the season, like that, there's many incidents, right? Kolo Muani's second goal when we played them for a foul, you know. The thing is, right, when you can think of so many incidents for one individual team, you know that there's an issue. Like, it's just me. If there wasn't, I would be like, look, you know, I can't sit here and pretend like there's been all these, but there has, and that's just the truth. There has, you know, they've been highlighted. You know, everybody knows about them now.
Yeah.
For me, and look, again, yes, am I salty? Yes. Am I bitter? Yes. Because they won the Premier League. I've never seen my team do that, and it hurts. Of course it does. But they are the worst ever team to win the Premier League. And again, opinion, it's just an opinion, but they are the worst ever team to win the league. Think back to the title-winning teams that won the title. Pep, 98 points. Centurions, you know, Man United, Fergie, Chelsea under Conte, all of these teams.
Even Leicester.
Even Leicester, because Leicester, I know they played counter-attacking football. It was good. You know, these teams that have won the league have done it in a way where you sit back and say, yeah, fair play. They are a fantastic team and they fully deserve to win the title with the way they play. Not Arsenal, not impeding the goalkeeper, not, you know, set piece FC, all of this rubbish, playing terrible football, having every decision go in their favor. And then still, even in the worst for me, in terms, I've said this many times, overall quality of the league, for me, the worst season ever in Premier League history. And even then, they still almost bottled it. Despite having a 9-point lead, they still almost threw it away. So that should tell you everything. And I hope to every single football god that PSG absolutely slapped them on Saturday. Wow. Because that's what, if everything goes to plan, that's what should happen. If PSG are at the PSG that they've been in recent times, like semi-final against Bayern and all of this, they will absolutely wipe the floor with Arsenal. I'm telling you, and it won't even be close.
We'll see.
If everything goes to plan, if they turn up in the way they're supposed to and all of this, I have full confidence in them.
Yeah.
This for me it's the worst ever Premier League season. And they still almost messed it up. And they've done it in a way with all the refereeing decisions, not a single red card, not a single penalty against. And there you go. Look, again, opinion, people are allowed to disagree with me. This will come across as very salty and bitter, which it is. But in my opinion, for me, in terms of what I've seen watching football, on just the way they play, for me, the worst ever team to win the Prem, and it's not even close for me. And I hope that they're not remembered alongside these other great teams that have won the Premier League.
Great teams
Yeah, there's been many.
for Arsenal, yeah. But what do you call this? The fact that they had 0 red cards, 0 penalties, could
Yeah.
win the Champions League. I'm, it would be. Let's say they win the Champions League. Build a statue for Mikel Arteta. That'll be the claim.
By the way, if you look at their Champions League bracket, you'd think they're playing in the Europa League. Just saying.
Exactly, yeah. Like the fact, like in a way, once the bracket was made before the last 16 started, I had a feeling they would actually make the final. I had that feeling because
But you never thought the bracket would be the way it is. I don't think you would have predicted that.
oh yeah, I didn't predict PSG to make the final, but once I saw Arsenal's path, I was like,
PSG are a proper football team. They're a proper team. They play top football. I don't see any of that style from Arsenal. I see none of it.
yeah. So I guess we can move on to what do you call this? The European, I guess, club season. We kind of touched on the Champions League final. I won't do my prediction because I'll do a preview of it on Friday, the day before. But what do you think? PSG Arsenal.
Okay, my honest prediction is this. Obviously, I want to see another 5-0 like last season with PSG.
Oh, Arsenal? Oh.
No. My honest prediction is this. Arsenal are going to stink it out. They're going to try and play defensive, awful football. PSG will struggle to break them down at the start. But I reckon last maybe half an hour, I reckon PSG will grab 2 goals and win 2-0. That's my honest prediction. Eventually, they'll find a way through that stinky football, probably Kvaratskhelia, and then they'll grab a second goal late on and wrap it up. For me, 2-0 PSG. And again, if PSG don't do anything silly, like get a red card early on, or have an off day and all of this, if this is the PSG that we think are going to turn up, Arsenal can't compete with them. They can't. If it is the PSG that we believe will turn up, but if it's not, obviously different story. But assuming it's the PSG that we think will turn up, then yeah, PSG should be winning comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, what you call this? PSG in the path have played, like in terms of like just the path itself, Chelsea, Liverpool, and the final against Arsenal. So just like last season, they've played English teams in the path to winning it. Just saying, and they played a French team in the playoff round, just like last season. Last season, and this year Monaco. So maybe the stars are aligning, I would say. But I guess, well, one of the European tournaments finished, Europa League.
We were both wrong, sadly.
Yeah. No, okay. Congrats to Villa or whatever, but
yeah, look, Villa deserved it. They did.
Yeah, I think that, to be honest, that final I did watch along with Kels or whatever. It was really boring. Once it became 2-0 or whatever, I think it was 2-0 or something before halftime. It was boring. That final. Would I say is as bad as last season with you guys as a neutral?
I mean, fair play to the goals they got were great goals.
Really good goals.
Look, Villa deserved it. They were the best team in the competition. Albeit, I do think the Europa League was significantly weak this season. I think that it was a very weak tournament. I mean, obviously, look, the Europa League's never going to be as strong as the Champions League, but I think even for Europa League standards, I think it was very similar to the Conference League in a lot of ways this season, in my opinion. And Villa ultimately deserved it. Look, Freiburg done well to get to the final, but I think I always thought Villa were going to win, to be honest. And they did that, but this is Unai Emery. Unai Emery is the king of the Europa League. So it shouldn't be a surprise that he got it done. But look, I thought Villa would bottle it because they until that point they weren't for as well as they've done, they weren't a club that wins trophies. So I wasn't sure if they had it in them because obviously everyone said they'd win the Conference League a couple years ago and they didn't. So I thought maybe something similar would happen, but it didn't. And congrats to them. Like they deserve it. Like fully deserved.
Yeah, unfortunately. But in a way, especially now we have the Conference League final on Wednesday, and it is an English team against. Actually, it's kind of similar to last season's Conference League, though. I don't think Crystal Palace are as good as Chelsea and Rayo. I think Rayo and Betis are similar, but before chatting about the Conference League final prediction, whatever, in a way, it feels like in Europe it is a bit boring seeing the English teams win the
Very
Europa
boring.
and
Very
Conference.
boring.
Like, of course, I want Rayo to win on Wednesday, but let's just assume the expectation is Crystal Palace will win it. That's the expectation from everyone. And when you think about, okay, what next season, Conference League, in my opinion, it may be Brighton win it next
No,
season.
I already know who's winning the Conference League next season.
Brighton, yeah.
Atalanta.
Maybe. And then
Atalanta.
Europa League. Bournemouth or just anyone. If it has to be,
I reckon it will be one of the Italian teams, Milan or Juventus. I reckon.
Be honest, yeah. You know what? All Italian final. That was the
Yeah.
Italian final I wanted, not Inter Juve in the Champions League. You know what? Yeah, I'll go for that. But I'll be honest, the fact that the English teams have, in a way, it feels like now the new format actually helps the English teams.
It benefits them. Look, it benefits them massively because the English teams have the most money, so they have the most available money to go and buy bigger squads, and it's helped them. I think that's kind of the difference.
Yeah, I think like it does in a way. I feel like this season's Europa League and in a way the Conference League, it's not as fun or hyped. Whereas last season it was like Man United, Spurs, the pathway and all that. That was fun
because people saying that Spurs had like an easy run to the Europa League. I thought, again, like this might be biased, but in my opinion, I think the Europa League we played in last season was much tougher because you had Man United, who I know Man United were terrible, but this is the same Man United that people say, oh, it's in their DNA to win trophies and all of this. So it's that same Man United. You had Athletic Club, who everybody, including me, thought would win the tournament. You had Galatasaray, who have Osimhen and who are done well in the Champions League. You had Bodo Glimt, who made the Champions League last 16 this year. And you had Roma, of course. Roma, I know they were in it again this year, but Roma had that resurgence under Ranieri last season as well. So for me, it was stronger. Lazio had a good start to last season, but obviously fell off. So for me, it was tougher last season, just based on that. Like this season, I said Roma would win it, but for me, the biggest threats to Villa were maybe they didn't even play Roma because Bologna beat them, and apart from the fact Nottingham Forest made the semis and they almost got relegated, like. And before people say we finished 17th, we were never as close to relegation as Forest were this season.
Yeah. And the fact I said the one team that can stop Aston Villa from winning that this season's Europa, to be honest, was Nottingham Forest because used to playing each other, and you never know in a two-legged tie. But ultimately, Nottingham Forest bottled it, and now they're out of Europe as well, just like you and I. But I think for the Conference League, my hope is Rayo win it, but I feel like I think it will be Crystal Palace. I think. What do you think?
That's fair, and I think Palace, obviously, great for them. They could make history by winning, their second trophy in 2 seasons, which is obviously massive, and obviously it would be the perfect goodbye for Glasner and everything. Big up. I was like Niz, big up to Niz every single time. Hope you're doing well. I actually reckon Rayo will win. I think I'm the only one saying that. I think that there might be a surprise because one thing I can say for certain is all 3 of the European competitions won't be won. It won't be 3 English clubs. I can guarantee you that right now.
Oh, if that actually happens,
famous last words.
You'll be cooked.
But in my opinion, it won't be. It's not going to be a clean like English clubs. They're not going to win all 3. Like I just don't see that happening. And I reckon that obviously Villa got the Europa League. I reckon PSG will get the Champions League, like I mentioned. And I reckon there's going to be a big surprise, and Rayo Vallecano are going to get the Conference League.
Please, please.
I do. I think there's going to be a surprise. This will be everyone's saying, "Oh, Arsenal might surprise PSG." I think this will be. I think this will be the surprise, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I reckon the reason I say this because I reckon because obviously you've watched more Rayo than I have, but from what have seen of them, obviously, and this is the case with a lot of Spanish teams. Technically, I think they're better than Palace. Palace are not a technically gifted team. Obviously, they're a good counter-attacking team. They're good in transition and spaces, but I think Rayo are little bit better technically, and I reckon that might be the difference in the final. Personally,
Hopefully. I mean, it would if Rayo were to win, it would be the first ever major trophy, you could say. Um, so I hope Rayo win, but in terms of my prediction for the game on Wednesday, I'll go unfortunately 2-0 Crystal Palace.
look, I
Unfortunately.
can see. Look, if Palace win, I'm not going to be surprised.
Yeah. Where's your prediction? I know you said Rayo, but score.
I reckon Rayo will win it on penalties. I reckon.
Mm.
I reckon it will go to pens.
After a 0-0 draw of boring football.
No, after 1-1. 1-1, I reckon.
Damn. Hopefully that's the case because that would mean what Crystal Palace don't get into Europe next season because they didn't finish in the top 8 in the Prem or whatever. But yeah, I guess what we could do, unless that was everything else, is we did our predictions at the start of like August, start of the season, and I actually have the thing with me. So we'll do the Prem first, and then Spain and whatever. So let's start with the Premier League. So we predicted the the bottom 3. We had the same one: Brentford, Burnley, Sunderland, and we both got 1 point because
1 point.
Burnley got relegated. Let me actually put the score for us. It's 1 point each.
Oh, you tracked the score. Fantastic.
So I'll track the scores. So we got what, it doesn't matter about the placement. And then 5th to 7th, so basically outside of the top 4, you had Newcastle, Aston Villa, Man United. I had Man United, Spurs, Newcastle. So technically, no points because United and Villa got top 4. And less said about Newcastle and Spurs, the better.
Yeah.
And then 2nd to 4th, we both said the same ones: Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool. Chelsea.
Jesus. I mean, look, it's funny, but yeah, like we both said they'd get top 4, but that was when they had Maresca. And obviously Maresca's joined Man City now. So
yeah. And then, well, by process of elimination, the Premier League winners, Manchester City, from both of us.
And everyone was saying Liverpool at the start of the season. We both were right that Liverpool wouldn't win. To be fair.
Yeah. I think actually I placed Liverpool. I'm not sure if this is in the exact order. I put them 4th, but maybe I put them 2nd. Actually, I think I put them 2nd. I think I had Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea. I think that was the order I went with. I think at that time.
I remember what I said. I said City first, Liverpool 2nd, Chelsea 3rd, Arsenal 4th. That's what I said, which is obviously horribly wrong, but I admit it. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. So yeah, I was wrong.
And Carabao Cup, you said Liverpool, and I got it correct. I said Manchester City. So I got a point there. FA Cup, we could have actually gotten a point each because we both said Chelsea and they lost the final.
Do you know why I said Chelsea? Because I thought they might. You know how Chelsea and Man United, they'll just scam a trophy. I thought they'd scam a trophy.
You know what? That was so close from happening.
It could have happened. It could, yeah. So I mean, thankfully it didn't. But
you know what? Yeah. And then, so that means in England or the Prem, I got 3 points. You got 2 points. Well, I'll just accumulate. So next was La Liga. 18th to 20th, so relegation, I said Espanyol, Elche, Oviedo, so I only got one correct. And same thing to you. You said Alaves, Oviedo, Elche, and Oviedo was the only one. Mallorca and Girona
Look, fair play
relegated.
to Elche for getting promoted and having a decent season.
And Levante.
Yeah.
You know the amount of remontados they had this past month or so?
I saw, yeah, a little bit. Yeah. They
Yeah,
done well.
so I I I do think maybe next season they go down. Considering I think Racing Club and Deportivo and whoever comes through the playoff, I think are better than Oviedo, better than Levante at least, I would say. So probably next season's La Liga might be more competitive, I guess.
Look, I'm wishing you the best of luck. I'm wishing you the best of luck next season.
Yeah. Same for Palermo and Serie B. And then
Oh.
we'll go from 5th to 7th. I guess not in order. I said Athletic Club, Celta Vigo, and Valencia. So I actually got one correct. I said Celta in the 5th to 7th, so I got a point.
Oh yeah, the derby's back next season.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping I can go. Maybe I don't know how it'll probably be expensive tickets though. I think it might actually be more expensive than Real Madrid Barcelona. I have a feeling.
Really?
Maybe.
Wow.
Because it's the derby, I guess. And then for you, you said Villarreal, Valencia, Athletic, which, well, I know Villarreal finished third, but
I mean, Athletic Club, Jesus.
12. They finished where Newcastle finished in the league.
And then, by the way, Valencia, I wasn't far off. I was not far off.
Same thing. I said they would get European football.
Yeah.
And had they converted their loss into a win, they would have actually gotten Conference League football.
Yeah. I said they'd get Conference League, so I wasn't far.
And then 2nd to 4th, I said Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Real Sociedad. I got 1 point. I said Atletico. Though my Sociedad shout, they did
Copa
get
del Rey winners.
Yeah. But you'll see what we said for the Copa del Rey. And then for you, you said Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Real Betis. The only thing is, I know Betis got Champions
I told
League,
you they'd get Champions League. I did say. I did say they would.
2nd to 4th. So I'll give you 2 points for both Madrid teams. And I might as well give you the point for the league winner because you said Barcelona. I said Real Madrid. It wasn't that close at all. And then
I said Barcelona, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah. And then Copa del Rey, I said Barcelona. What did I say? Yeah, I said Barcelona. You said Real Madrid. It was Sociedad that won it.
And congrats to them. It's great to see an underdog win it. It's really good.
Yeah. And you know what? It was good that Sociedad won it instead of Atleti. So that now they are becoming like, you could say, Spursy. Atletico.
I'll be honest, like I rated Simeone highly, but I think he's done now. I really think he's done. I think he just needs to retire from
or at least like have a sabbatical or something.
Yeah, he for me look, maybe he'll do well at another club, but at Atletico for me it's done. It just seems that way because they're not really they're just very stale, aren't they?
Yeah, they'll always get Champions League football because,
but nothing else though. They for Atletico Madrid, obviously they're going to expect a bit more than that. So
yeah, especially they had, in a way, near the end of the season they had 2 shots of a trophy, Copa del Rey and Champions League. Unfortunately, not the Champions League.
Champions League. I'm going to say it again. I thought they were robbed of 3 penalties in the second leg, but.
And big up to Elvidius, who I remember you support one of the Italian teams, but I forgot who it was. And then, speaking of Italy, 18th to 20th, we actually got.
I got it spot on. We both got it spot on.
I said, well, if anyone wants to know, it was Hellas Verona, Pisa, and Cremonese. And to be honest, I think the closest other team would have been Lecce, which I think maybe both of us would have actually said Lecce.
I said Lecce. I think I said Lecce would just avoid it. I remember saying that.
And then 5th to 7th. So I had Como, Juventus, Lazio. So Juve is that 1 point for me. And you said Juventus, Lazio, well, it's the same 3. And that means, but I remember saying this. I remember saying this about Como. I know I said
Yeah.
fifth place for Como. I said Champions League football. They actually
I,
finished
I
higher
said
than
I
my.
said Conference League, so I was off. I was look. Congrats to like
Oh
Como.
yeah,
But
Roma.
I did look. I said Conference League, and they overperformed that. So
Yeah, they actually overperformed my prediction. I said fifth, they got fourth, but I said
yeah,
Champions League football because I thought Italy would get the extra spot in the European thingy. So in a way, I'm not going to give myself a point, but so close
that's a good predict. The Como one's a good prediction.
that I said Champions League.
Champions League, that's a really good prediction.
And then second to fourth, I said Napoli, AC Milan, Inter. So I got 1 point for Napoli because AC Milan couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, still, like how they bottled that is pretty crazy.
Yeah. And then you said Roma, Inter, AC Milan, which means you also got 1 point for Roma.
By the way, I have to do a bit of an apology here. Apology to Inter because I massively underestimated them. Look, they didn't do well in Europe, and I do look for somebody that likes the Serie A. I do think that Serie A wasn't the best this season in terms of quality, and if I'm honest, pretty shit in compared to other seasons. But I underestimated Kivu's ability to win a double with Inter, and obviously they won the league comfortably. So again, I thought they'd struggle. I thought they'd win nothing again. So congrats,
and,
I was
they
wrong.
won the double. Yeah. So congrats to all the Inter fans, biggest club in Italy. And then the league winners, you said Napoli, I said Roma, which, you know what? Okay. Considering Inter
Napoli
actually won
came
it.
second, even though it wasn't close. But they
And
did
you
come
know
second.
what? I know Roma at some point were like probably not even getting Champions League. The fact that he finished third, you know what? I'll take Roma finishing in the top three. Actually, I think that's a good. I would say my Serie. I think our Serie A predictions were probably the best of the top five leagues. I would say. I think our worst is probably the Premier League.
Look, I just wanted to with Serie A, I just wanted to see Palermo be there, but unfortunately.
Yeah. And then the Coppa Italia, you said AC Milan, I said Fiorentina.
Wow.
And it ended up being Inter.
Wow.
And if you wanted the closest, it would have been Lazio or Como. Como could have actually. Damn.
Yeah. Como, they messed it. I mean, 2-0 up twice in with the space of a week against Inter, if you remember both games.
And then bottled.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Bundesliga. So 17th, 18th. So automatic relegation. We both got a spot on.
I think, by the way, just before you keep going, if I remember correctly, I have a fantastic prediction coming up.
Yeah. It's about to come up. Ibra should have left as well. Yeah.
I think again with Milan, like the way you guys treated Maldini, like you had to. Now, for me, you had to back him, Maldini.
I think Maldini, what do you call this? Is linked to the as the Italy sporting director or whatever you call it.
That would be fantastic.
I think that was the link, or it might have been Baggio.
Yes,
I don't know if
Baggio. They should have listened to him originally. If you know, you know.
Years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
So we both got a spot on with 17th, 18th with St. Pauli, Heidenheim going down. And the replacement, or 16th, I said Union. This is the relegation or promotion playoff. Yeah. I said Union Berlin, which not that bad. But you had Wolfsburg. That is probably the best one. Because Wolfsburg, I forgot what they finished last season. But Wolfsburg, I forgot. By
the way, that game was going on today, the second leg of it, and it's actually 1-1 and going into extra time right now.
Right now? Damn. Yeah. So I think I said, like yesterday, I told AD744, I think Paderborn gets it and relegates Wolfsburg for the first time, I think, ever from the Bundesliga.
Possibly, yeah.
So I guess maybe during this show or off stream, off camera, we'll find out if it's Paderborn back and to relegate themselves next season anyway, because I really don't think they're that good. And what's the other? Or Wolfsburg stay and maybe make a push for top four, just like how Stuttgart did long while ago, Hoffenheim and whatever. So, but yeah, so the points, 13 for me, 14 for
That
you.
was a masterstroke. I can't lie. I'm actually very proud of that one.
Yeah, so yours was Wolfsburg. Mine was, even though I didn't get a point, it's probably Como Champions League so far.
Yeah.
And then
The Wolfsburg one was like,
yeah,
I don't think
you got
anyone else saw
spot
that
on.
coming. I'll be honest.
Yeah, because I forgot where I predicted them, but definitely not the playoff. So then 5th to 7th, Stuttgart. This is mine. Stuttgart, Werder Bremen, and Leverkusen. I got a point for Leverkusen. So you know what? You know what? I predicted Leverkusen to not get European, or well, they did Champions League football. So I'll take that. Stuttgart, well, they actually in a way over. I wouldn't say overperformed, but got Champions League. And then Werder Bremen. At one point, it looked like they would have been the not Wolfsburg. It would have been them in the playoff.
They were kind of like the Bundesliga Tottenham this season.
Yeah. And then you said 5th to 7th, Leipzig, Stuttgart, Freiburg, and you get 1 point for Freiburg.
I'll take that. That's pretty. I'll take Freiburg for that.
So you're still a point ahead.
Ah.
And then 2nd to 4th, I said Dortmund, Frankfurt, RB Leipzig. So I got 2 points for Leipzig and Dortmund. That'll be my points. But Frankfurt, no European football. You know what's crazy? This season's Conference League is in Leipzig, but RB Leipzig weren't or not in Europe this season. Next season, the Europa League final is going to be in Frankfurt, and Frankfurt are not in European football. Wow. So maybe that's a bit of a curse. So you know what? Tottenham Hotspur Stadium hosts every single Champions League final. So
oh man, you wanted us down. Now you want us to host all the Champions League finals.
Just like how what do you call this? I know Liam and Ahmed don't want Munich to host any more Champions League final because it gives new winners. Also next in 2 years from now. And you know what my prediction will be in 2 years now. And you said Dortmund, Leverkusen, Frankfurt. And that's 1 point. Yeah, because Leverkusen and yeah. So you got 1 point. So now we're equal, 16-16. And I mean, I might as well add Bayern Munich. Woo!
Yes, one of the easiest predictions.
Though, GFB Pokal, you said Leverkusen, I said Frankfurt.
Wow, we shouldn't have underestimated because Bayern. The thing is, Bayern hadn't won it for a few years. So,
and then you know what? Harry Kane scored a hat trick
in a final. People said he never scored in finals, but he got a hat trick.
Maybe, and now what do you call this? Now people are saying, "Oh, he doesn't turn up for big games." Well, now he just scored a hat trick.
Yeah, I know it's the DFB Pokal, but like any final, like a hat trick is crazy to be honest.
Yeah, and then for Ligue 1 France. So relegation, you got a point. So I said Le Havre and Lorient. They weren't even that close for relegation. So I had a nightmare. You had Le Havre, Metz went down.
Metz, yeah.
Though the team that did went down automatically was Nantes, which from what Steve said is a shocking relegation in a way.
Yeah, no, it is
like nine league titles in their history.
Yeah,
so that's a big one. And then 16th, so the playoff zone, we both didn't get anything. I said Toulouse, and you said Lorient. It ended Sir Jim Radcliffe.
Nice, who got to the cup final and lost.
And you know what? Last season's cup final was PSG against Rennes, and Rennes went down as a relegation playoff team. Nice relegation. We will be there. Though we won't have the emotional derby of Nice versus
emotion derby.
You know what? I hope Saint Etienne gets promoted instead
after just one season. Yeah, it would be 1 season. Yeah.
And then 5th to 7th, I hope I get correct in saying it or remembering. Actually, maybe because I don't remember the league on table. I know who won it, but so let's say. So we had, I said 5th to 7th, Lille, Strasbourg, Rennes, and you know what? my Ren prediction was correct because that's my only
Yeah.
point. Because the actual finish was Marseille, Rennes, Monaco. So Rennes was my 1 point for that position from fifth to seventh. You said Lyon, Nice,
Nice. Oh my god.
and Lens,
Lons. Lons.
Nice.
Oh man. Oh, that's probably one of my worst predictions.
I think that's the. I think I don't know what's my worst. I think my worst one. I have to check now. What was my worst one? I think that was your worst ever one.
Your worst
Me?
one was Fiorentina with the
Oh yeah,
Coppa
probably winning
Italia.
the Coppa Italia.
Yeah.
So mine was Fiorentina Coppa Italia. Yours was Nice, top 7. They could go down.
They could go. Yeah.
Well, actually, equally, both of us had the Premier League relegation. The less said about that, the better. So you didn't get a point because Leon and Lon got champions or top 4, and Nice, well, we know. And then the top 4, second to fourth, I said Monaco, Marseille, Lens. So my Lens prediction I got right. So that's a point for me. I hope I'm counting the points right, but it doesn't really matter. And you said Monaco, Marseille, Lille. So you got a point for Lille. Yeah. And no surprise, PSG won.
Easiest prediction. That's like an easy guarantee.
Though
Although it was different. Although the thing is, they've been rotating a lot because they've been like prioritized. They've been playing like youth teams and stuff in the league. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and they lost. I think they lost to Paris FC twice this season. One in the cup and one the final day, just before playing Arsenal.
Well, they did lose to Nice last season just before playing Arsenal. So.
Oh really? No.
Yeah, they did. They did.
France last season.
No, in the league. In the league.
Oh really? Oh okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So and then the Coupe de France winner, we both said PSG. So we should have just done the Bayern thing instead.
Yeah, we just got it reversed. We should have done the Bundesliga with Liga. Yeah, it's the wrong way round, sadly.
Yeah. So that means I hope I counted it right. 20 points each. So you know what? Not bad, I would say. And now for Europe, we'll start with Conference League, even though won't add the points for at least 2 of the things. So top 8, I need to check who finished top 8 in the Conference League. So the top 8 of the Conference League was Strasbourg, Wrocław of Poland, AEK Athens, Sparta Prague, Rayo, Shakhtar Donetsk, Mainz, and Larnaca. So let's see. So, wait, no. Oh, okay, you said Palace. So I said Crystal Palace, Fiorentina, Rayo Vallecano, that's 1 point. Strasbourg, that's 1 point. Mainz, that's 1 point. Legia Warsaw. And where did they finish in the Conference League? 28th.
Jesus. Oh, man.
They didn't even make it to the playoff. And then, so I got 3 points so far. Dynamo Kiev. Where did they finish in the Conference League table? 27th. I just had the wrong Ukrainian team.
I mean, Shakhtar done all right. So.
And then I got AEK Athens. So that's 4 points. So I'll add 4 points for the top 8. And then you said Fiorentina, Palace, Rayo Vallecano, AZ Alkmaar, Strasbourg, Mainz, Legia Warsaw, and Sparta Prague. I think I said Sparta Prague is, yeah. So you also got 4 points as well. I mean,
it's very close. It's very close at the moment.
Yeah. And big up to Baran.
Oh, yeah, big up to Baran. It's been a tough season for you guys as well with all the drama.
Yeah, and also how many, what do you call this? How many are called up for the Spain team from Real Madrid as well?
Yeah.
And then we didn't do the court. We said the semifinalists. I said Crystal Palace, Strasbourg, Mainz, Jagiellona, Blatt, Bialystok. I got 2 points. So it's all right. I got half of it, but you got 3 points. You said Fiorentina, which was the only one. Palace, Rayo, Strasbourg. So you got three of the four. So now you're ahead by one. And then, so actually, my final was Jagiellona Bialystok losing to Crystal Palace. So I could get the champion winner correct. And you said Strasbourg to beat Rayo Vallecano. So actually,
I said Rayo would get to the final.
But you said them to lose.
Yeah.
So actually, if Crystal Palace beats Rayo, we both get a point each because you had Rayo second, I had Palace winning. So that means it canceled each other out. Who's the top scorer right now? Because I know by technicality. Let me see. What's the
Conference
top
League
scorer? I think
Good
it's
question.
Ismaila Soa, I think.
Must be, yeah.
But we both said Mateta, basically. But that actually means that it'll also cancel each other out because we both said Mateta. So now,
Mateta almost left to Milan in January.
Yeah, and then had that whole what do you call this? What is it?
Wasn't he like injured? He was like injured or something. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and then if this season ends this week, we would have it could have been. And then so that means technically the Conference League is done because if Palace win, Rayo loses, we both get a point. And if it's the other way around, we don't get any points. And Mateta, well, we both said him, so we cancel each other out. So then Europa League. So now I have to get the Europa League.
Oh yeah, question as well. You see Baran's comment. Would you take Perez over Eddie Howe next season?
Inigo Perez. You know what? Yeah. Yes. I'll take him.
He seems good, especially if he wins the Conference League.
Yeah, because technically, with what do you call this? With European football, Rayo were 1 point from getting Conference League again.
And this is with Rayo Vallecano. I mean, look at their stadium.
Yeah, and they play like 2 of their games, not even in Vallecas. They play in Leganes, actually. So then Europa League. So the top 8, the actual top 8 was Lyon, Aston Villa, Michelin, Betis, Porto, Braga, Freiburg, Roma. That was the top 8. So that means, okay, so I said Real Betis, Lyon, Aston Villa, Roma, Porto, Stuttgart, Ferencváros. You know what? Ferencváros, I think they were pretty good, and Bologna.
Yeah, Robbie Keane, under Robbie Keane, yeah.
So I got 5 points, so that's 31. You're on 27. And your top 8 was Roma, Bologna, Aston Villa, Fenerbahce, Lille, Lyon, Real Betis, Feyenoord. So you got 4 points.
Do you know what we both predicted right? We said that Forest wouldn't get top 8. We both said that.
Oh, yeah. And I said Celta Vigo wouldn't get top 8. Huh?
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, I scrolled down. Bologna, Stuttgart, Ferencváros, the teams I said would get top 8. They finished 10th, 11th, 12th. So they were actually pretty close. It was only Genk that should have and all that. So
Genk, that's Genk. Don't remind me of Ghent.
So what do you call this? We both have 31 points. And then what do you call this? The semifinalists. I said Lyon, they didn't make it. Aston Villa, Roma, Bologna. So I only got 1 point. And the same thing for you. You said Fenerbahce, Feyenoord, Aston Villa, Roma, and we both said Aston Villa. And then it doesn't really matter because our winner pick didn't win.
I said that Roma would beat Villa in the final. I think.
We both said Roma to win. Obviously, Villa won, which means Aston Villa, you said they didn't win, but they ended up winning, so you don't get.
By the way, I know I mentioned it earlier. I was convinced they weren't winning it. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
but they did, and fair play. They deserved it.
And I said Bologna, even though actually my final played out wrongly because they met in the last
Yeah,
16 and
last
Bologna won.
16. Yeah, yeah.
Damn, if only. And then I, the top goal scorer, I was so close for the
Who did
top
you say?
scorer. So the actual top scorers were joint, so it didn't matter which one. Igor Jesus of Nottingham Forest and Petr Stanic of Ludogorets. Your predicted top goal scorer from Nottingham Forest, Chris Wood.
Oh my god, Chris! I really said Chris Wood.
Yeah,
Oh
and
man,
it actually ended up being a
it
Chris.
was just the other Nottingham Forest
Yeah,
striker.
Nottingham Forest player.
Oh.
You want to know who I predicted to be top scorer? And he was one goal away. One goal. He
Who?
needed just
What?
one.
Watkins?
No, come on.
Oh, the goat. The goat.
He had the top scorer had 7 goals. Anthony, the goat, had 6.
Oh, so close. By the way, Betis bottled it against Braga, massively.
Yeah. Oh, I was so close. You know what? Fair, I'll say that's actually a good. Not exactly.
That was
but
a good
still,
prediction. Yeah, that was.
Anthony was 1 goal away. 1 goal. You know what? You know who I'm predicting for top goal scorer of the Champions League next season if he stays at Betis.
Yep. Well, look, it's the goat. The goat doing goat things. So
Yeah. And then what do you call this? Champions League. Obviously I know the final hasn't been played yet. Come on, Arsenal.
PSG, it's up to you to save football and bring world peace.
Yeah. So the top 8 in the Champions League, the actual one: Arsenal, Bayern, Liverpool, Spurs, Barcelona, Chelsea, Sporting, Man City. So that was the actual top 8. I said Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. They were really close. Napoli.
By the way, I warned you about Conte in Europe. I warned you.
Yeah.
I warned
Club
you.
Brugge. Okay.
Mm.
Not bad. They made the playoff. Villarreal.
Okay, that's now your worst prediction. Forget the Fiorentina one. That one there is the worst prediction.
They didn't even finish 27,
They
28.
didn't even beat us. They couldn't even score a goal against us.
They finished 35th.
That's bad.
I think that was my worst. And you know what? The fact that they're in the Champions League next season, thankfully, maybe with a different manager because Marcelino has now left. So maybe a little bit better from them. We'll see. So I got 4 points for the 3 English teams and Bayern. And then let me see the chat. Yeah, no Palermo.
Yeah, I spoke about it earlier. Yeah, it's gutting.
Oh yeah, I said
yeah,
that.
Como. You did. Yeah, you predicted Como as well.
I think a few people because I think Steve
did as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was too reserved. I was too cautious. I said Conference League, but
yeah,
fair play to them.
and this might be where you edge me, most likely. Your top 8 was Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, Bayern, Barcelona, and then the 2 you missed out: Real Madrid, PSG. So you got 6.
I was close. I was so close.
So the only ones you missed out were Man City and what do you call this? Sporting. So you actually got the top 6 correct.
I just got it the wrong way, right? Yeah, I just
more
got
or
the
less.
last 2 the wrong way round. Yeah.
Yeah. So you only missed out on the 7th and 8th place team. Though at least
I correctly predicted the top 6. Wow.
Yeah. But I predicted PSG to not get the top 8. Though now to be honest, it doesn't matter because they're not going to win the final on Saturday.
Yeah, they will. Of course they will.
And then the semi-finalists for the Champions League, I said Chelsea.
Damn, 8-2.
Liverpool, Real Madrid, and Bayern Munich. So I got 1 point.
1.
I didn't. If only I said Arsenal instead of Chelsea or Liverpool. And then you said Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona,
Oh no.
and PSG.
I got one. I got one. I got one.
So the bad one is, I guess, well, at least you might actually have gotten the winner. We
Exactly.
were
Yeah, you guys really kind of like screwed it with
I
that Ben with the goalkeeper scoring
you
and everything.
shouldn't have sacked him. To this day, I think that's one. I think that's the. I think if you kept Xabi Alonso, Real Madrid, I think things would have been maybe probably not win La Liga, but at least better in the Champions League. I think you beat Bayern actually in the Champions League.
Interesting.
And then our final of the Champions League, it doesn't matter because we both got nothing. I said Chelsea to lose the final to Real Madrid. And you said Barcelona to beat Liverpool in the final.
Oh man, what a that's one of my worst.
And then, unless what do you call this? What's the stats of the Champions League? Well, we both said Mbappe, so it doesn't really matter if he wins it or not. The top scorer. Well, he is the top goal scorer with 15. Harry Kane on 14. Anthony Gordon is joint third.
And he's done nothing in the Prem, but like in Champions League, different.
So
player.
the closest active player that can overtake Mbappe is Kvaratskhelia Kvaratskhelia with 10 goals. But Mbappe
By the way,
has
what a
15.
player! What a player!
Yeah. But he'll ghost in that final on Saturday.
He's getting at least one goal.
I guess in technicality, we will get a point each because I really don't think no one's scoring 5 goals for either team. Or Kvaratskhelia won't get 5 goals. Well, if he actually gets 5 goals on Saturday,
Kvaratskhelia could get 2 or 3, possibly.
Let's see. So, if I calculated the points right, I got out of all the leagues, and to be honest, it doesn't matter who wins the Europa or Conference League or Champions League. I got 38 points, and you got 40 points because it doesn't matter what happens in Champions and Conference League now. So, and we both said Mbappe and Mateta, so it doesn't matter about top scorer. So you've won.
So I won. I beat you on predictions. I won.
Yeah, damn. And then we'll see about the World Cup. But I guess we'll talk about the World Cup international stuff.
Yeah,
probably next time.
No Italy.
Yeah, no Italy. We'll talk about it maybe.
We talked about it on the last show. Yeah,
we'll talk about the World Cup. Maybe Charlie's prediction by then. In the next time we do this show, what is it? Mbappe under Xabi, arguably, yeah, exactly. I would say best player. And we'll see what he does at the World Cup. So, yeah. So, that basically, I would say, wraps up the sort of show for today. I guess maybe the next time we do this is either one of the next, probably before the World Cup, I would say. Like,
oh, yeah. Big up to Niz. Yeah. New prediction king.
Yeah. Now he got it.
This time, yeah.
I would say maybe, okay, your best prediction, Wolfsburg in the relegation promotion playoff, which, let me check what's the current result right now.
Hasn't it gone into like extra time or something?
Let's see.
Or Paderborn are 2-1 up.
Yeah, though it's still being played. So maybe I might watch it in the background. And hopefully Paderborn make it just to see that downfall of it or the up. And then your worst prediction?
Maybe Barcelona, to be honest, or Liverpool getting to the final, maybe.
Yeah, I think no. I know your worst. It's from Ligue 1.
Nice, yeah,
that's your worst.
Yeah.
And then my best prediction, it doesn't, because I didn't get a point, so I won't count it. The Como one, I would say my best prediction is probably like the one that actually got me a point. It's not really any. Yeah, it's not actually. Is I don't think I have. Okay, even though I didn't get a point, I guess Como getting Champions League.
That was a good one. The Como one, that was good. That was a good prediction.
And then my worst one, Champions League, Villarreal top 8.
Oh yeah, that's the worst. Yeah, that's the worst.
That's.
By the way, I did say that Spurs would get top 8, despite how bad we are.
I think I said
you
Spurs
did.
top 8.
We both said it. Yeah.
And I think we both said 17 points.
Yeah,
forgot.
we did. Yeah, I remember we spoke
17.
about it. Yeah.
And the Newcastle prediction for the Champions League, I forgot how many you said. I said 13. We finished with 14 points. I forgot how many points you had us at the start. So
I think I had 15. I remember. I think I had 15.
So you overestimate, but it's the same.
I think so. Yeah.
Same thing anyway. My best prediction: Liverpool finishing 5th, and Como UCL.
I don't know if you remembered it yet, but where did you predict Palermo to come in Serie B?
I don't think I have it on record, unless maybe I have to watch back the shows.
It was probably on one of the shows, yeah.
So maybe, definitely minimum playoff. I don't know if I said top 2. I think maybe my top 2. I think I know I said Venezia, but I don't remember who the other one was. It would have been funny if I said Empoli.
Do you know what's funny? Yeah, I'm looking back on my kind of predictions. I don't know why I did this, but I massively underestimated Monza. I thought they were going to struggle. I thought they were going to come like mid-table. I massively underestimated them. I really don't know why. And then Empoli I overestimated. So the 2 relegated teams I got wrong, the wrong way round.
Yeah, and then, but you had the knowledge that Dionisi's there.
No, but he wasn't there at the start of the season. I thought they'd be better at the start of the season.
Yeah, well. And then what do you call this? And then the Segunda, technically it's not finished yet. I know I made predictions somewhere on my ex Twitter, but I'll check it out next week when the season's done. But I said Deportivo playoffs. It's even better. La Liga, first division. So instead of calling it La Piña Rosa, it will just be called La Rosa. That's it.
Look, like I said, next season we have to do it. Like, there's no excuse. I said this to you, that there's no excuses for us not to come top, because we're not far away. We've got the manager. We've got a starting 11. We just don't have it. We need a better bench, and then I reckon it will happen. Hopefully we kind of get rid of some of the fringe players that just aren't quite good enough, and we replace them with better players that can actually come in and make an impact. Like, I'm seeing our first sort of link very early on is with Spendi, who scored 15 goals for Empoli. There's 2 brothers. There's one at Cesena, there's one at Empoli. Spendi, they're both Albanian, I think. He scored, the one at Empoli scored 15 goals. I'm seeing us linked with him. And I was in a struggle that Empoli were bad this season. I say we go and get him. I think that would be a good... If we go and get him, that would be a good start to the window.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess overall, European season, a bit shit.
Yeah.
Apart from Deportivo promoted or Spurs surviving. That was your highlight. But yeah, I guess we'll finish the show. In terms of this sort of thing coming back sometime before the World Cup, perhaps, something like that, so that you get to see Charlie's amazing predictions for the World Cup, I guess. And I'll make my own sometime before the World Cup or whatever. But yeah, Charlie, shout yourself out.
Yeah, look, thanks for having me on here. It's always good to be back here. Look, obviously, it's been probably the worst season of my life following football. I think I've hated every second of it. Look, it's the league's over, but unfortunately, the Champions League is not over. So fingers crossed that ends in the way it's supposed to. But yeah, this has been a terrible, terrible season. And I'm happy it's over. But by the way, Baron, this would be if they get him, that will be a really good signing. I can tell you that. But yeah, look, it's been good doing the shows with you. Like I said, when I can, I'll be coming back on the channel as much as I can. So yeah, looking forward to the next one. So yeah, big up to 10, big up to the chat. Another really good show.
Yeah, and there'll definitely probably be one before the World Cup, just so that Charlie can say, "Oh, Italy will win the." Oh God! But I guess For me, obviously, I'll do a watch long on Wednesday. I guess I'll dual stream it with Cal's True City Fan Extra and then a lot more other stuff. And then obviously the grand final, PSG taking on the Premier League champions, Asna, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, big up to Ban and all. And you know what? In terms of seasons, who had the better season between me and Charlie of the two clubs? I'll say mine for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you got a promotion. We unfortunately didn't.
Yeah, and to be honest, we both suffered with the English side of it. I don't really count.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Newcastle. I think you guys need a lot of work in the summer.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I guess until then, we will see you guys in the next one.